After a year of uncertainty, spring is here, and we are ready to turn the corner now to feel good again. We need a happiness reboot.
Yes, there's a new book out. It's going to help us. It's called Happy is the New Healthy. Joining us right now is the author, Dr. Joan Neehall, a forensic and clinical psychologist. Nice to have you on. Good day.
Nice to be here.
So, Doctor, you know, after this past year that we've been through, some people have lost loved ones, some people have lost their jobs. We've all had our ups and downs during this past year. How do we reboot?
Well, first of all, let's look at what happiness is. Happiness is not a condition we need to impose on people, but rather it's a mindset. It's something that we can all make. It's in the palm of your hands right now. And I teach people how to do this through different ways of behaving, because only 10%, listen, just 10% of your happiness is due to those life events you just talked about. 90% is due to how we process those events, what we do with our brains, because if we have a positive brain, believe it or not, the brain is then functioning at 30% more productivity. What does that mean? We have a release of dopamine, which we know makes us feel happy, but the brain also teaches us how to respond to different life events in a more constructive way.
Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us, everybody. Well, despite the pandemic and everything that we are going through on a daily basis, the human spirit is ever resilient. Dr. Joan Neehall is a happiness expert and says that we should all pursue happiness and find happiness as our new healthy.
Dr. Joan Neehall, it's so great to have you here on the show. I have to say, I read your book and I absolutely loved it. I'm working on myself because of it. So to start off here, how can a person change their attitudes to a happier state? It really just doesn't seem that easy to do.
You know, here's the thing. Happiness is not an act, it's a habit. It involves work. And in my book, I teach you how to do it. So it's not a case of going to Shangri-La or Preparation H or, Grecian formula. This is a lifestyle change I'm talking about. I'm talking about a way of life that I live and you could live too, and I share it with all of my readers. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And that's exactly what I'm talking about too. When I'm saying working on myself, there are so many things in this book that I can really focus on to get to my area of happiness.
Sometimes it can feel hard to look on the bright side, especially when we're in the middle of a pandemic.
But you know what? Happiness can be found even in the smallest things.
It is such a good reminder. And joining us now is Dr. Joan Neehall. She's a forensic and clinical psychologist, and she is out with a book called Happy is the New Healthy. I love the title, Doctor. Thank you for being with us. So you say, first of all, it's really important to focus on the small things. And how do we do that? Because sometimes when we're really upset, it might be over a big thing, like you lost your job or this pandemic is too much for you. And you think, oh, well, focusing on taking a quick walk isn't enough. Why is it enough, or why does it matter?
So what I suggest that we do is look at happiness as a way for us to make happiness. How can we do it? And I teach you in the book exactly how to do it. One of the ways is to stay in the present. Another way that I practice, and I recommend to everyone, is to take a few minutes every morning and stay in the present and think about the things that you feel grateful for. Like right at this very moment, what are you grateful for? What am I grateful for? I might be grateful to Elise, my producer. I might be grateful for my family. Whatever it is, it forces you to stay grounded. That's one thing. Another thing to do is exercise, as you mentioned, a walk. Now, I ask my patients to just give me 10 minutes of their time. I'm not asking for very much. I say, give me 10 minutes. Go outside in the air. Look up. Go on an expedition with me. Use your 5 senses. What are you noticing that's different? And that makes you feel connection. You feel connected with nature. You feel connected with your body. And guess what? You don't overeat and overdrink. That's not bad. Another thing I suggested we do is what I call savoring. Taking a minute every day to do something you actually love doing. For me, it could be listening to Chopin. It could be reading a book that has nothing to do with psychology. These are the things that make me happy. I want to Instagram them. I want to do it in the present, whatever it is that I chose, and then tell my friends about it. This is what I did. And that prevents habituation from occurring. It prevents you from getting used to stuff.
We only have about a minute left, but you also say reach out to an old friend, which could make a lot of difference.
Absolutely. There is an epidemic of loneliness. In the UK, Theresa May mentioned it in 2007. She developed the Ministry of Loneliness. And what we're talking about, there's a need to connect with others, especially during these difficult times. Get on your phone, phone a friend. Don't wait for another person to call you and say, well, she never called. Why should I reach out? Do these things. Be proactive. Reach out. Do random acts of kindness to your neighbor, to a friend, to anyone. If you start connecting with other people, you start feeling better about yourself. You see, it's not a case of you get what you deserve, but you get what you give.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Some great advice there.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Yes, so true. Whatever you focus on grows.
First off, I'll say happy Friday.
Yes.
And now this.
Brings you up.
Yeah, now I'm going to bring you down. Happiness is at a 50-year low. That's the sad finding of a recent study.
And this week's Dying to Ask guest says it's time for us to all have a happiness reboot. Dr. Joan Neehall is an international happiness expert and the author of a new book called Happy is the New Healthy. She has spent decades studying how perceived happiness impacts your physical health. And she recommends coming up with your go-to happy list. So 3 things that you know tend to boost your mood. She suggests that the #1 happiness hack is going for a walk. But here's the catch, Teo. You have to be really quick about it.
You are walking fast. You elevate that heart rate. Anything you can do for your cardiovascular system is going to make you feel happy. Why? Because you feel in control of your life. You feel you set yourself with a small attainable goal, and in the midst of life's uncertainties, you're in control. Then I say to you, if you are feeling unhappy, document it then. Give yourself permission to do unhappiness. Why do we have to feel that you've got to have shame and guilt because you're unhappy?
You can find this episode on our Casey Ray app, or you can search Dying to Ask on your favorite podcast platform.
You said she was just fascinating.
Oh my gosh. When you finish up a podcast interview, you know, sometimes you're like, bye-bye, and you hit leave and you're out. We stayed on talking for at least another 20 minutes till she had another appointment. And I got off the interview finally, and I thought, did I just get a free therapy session? I think I might have. I mean, it was so interesting. And some of these things are so basic, but for some reason right now, those basic things just feel so hard. So the simple act of writing down these 3 things always make me happy, and then actually looking at it and doing it can really change how you feel.
There you go.